Thank you. Thank you. In honor of the Artemis launch and recent splashdown. Yeah. In honor of all the moon hoaxers. Yeah. Who now have to say that this is completely fake. Because, of course, uh, and I'm sure somebody's said it, the reason they're faking it all over again is because everybody's wising up and there are all these moon hoaxers out there. So they're going to do it all over again. They're going to fake it again, and you have to be an idiot to believe it. Because look at this AI generated video this guy posted to Twitter. Come on, right? I mean, come on. Anyway, I'm just here to update on the stream. Um, why I'm not going Sundays anymore. Well, I might do Sunday mornings or something. But I've had a change of schedule at work. And I was going to go weekday mornings, a couple of days out of the week when I could pull it off. But I can't now because it's my work schedule has been drastically changed. I'm a wage slave, of course, so I have to do what I'm told. So I think we're going to be doing some afternoon weekday streams. I think that's what we're going to do. Uh, maybe a little, maybe Sunday mornings and one weekday morning. And yeah, that will be what we're going to do. I just wanted to say hello and let you know that. Like we'll do it tomorrow. Maybe we'll do one tomorrow. But I've got some time off actually right now, taking a couple of days off. So we might do a morning stream tomorrow. Who knows? Or an early afternoon sort of stream. I don't know. I have a weird job, and I'm trying to make it work and work at the same time. So that's unfortunate, And since we last talked, nothing much has changed. Donald Trump has slipped completely into insanity. Maybe we'll pull up that post. I almost said Blue Skype. What is it? Truth Social. So I guess Truth Social is basically Blue Sky for MAGA. It's where they go and they all agree with each other. There's Blue Sky and then there's Red Sky, right? Um, and here's the latest lunacy.
That picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ.
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross.
Because doctors wear religious robes and they have orbs of light in the palm of their hands, and they're accompanied by angels in the form of fighter jets. And honestly, in the middle there, it looks like some sort of demon creature with three horns in the center. But yeah, this is our president.
As a Red Cross worker there, which we support, and
Red Cross.
Only the fake news could come up with that one. So I had
that fake news line isn't hitting quite like it did before Trump. Isn't it funny how he came on the scene and love him or hate him, whether or not he was quite accurately telling the truth, he was telling more truth than other politicians, even when he was bullshitting. There was the beauty of the 2016 Trump. even in 2024, though it became clear, and you heard it here. I don't like that nobody watches the stream, that I don't have sort of platform, because everybody says that Nick Fuentes is the only one. I know he's not the only one, even among prominent people. He was the only one who said that we were going to go to war for Iran. And I was saying it. And I was saying it because I was reading it and because others were saying it. You know, we're going to go to war with Iran. You know, I didn't vote for him in 2024. I would have, you know, I would have voted for him. But I thought, I'm not going to vote for this. It became painfully obvious after the experience of the first administration, and with the second administration shaping up early on to be more Zionist, more Jewish than the last. With all indications, it was obvious he was going to do that. But it's funny, so here's the fake news thing, which was an invaluable service he performed. That's the thing about Trump. He's craven, he's selfish, he's ambitious, but he did, he did the Lord's work in his way by calling out fake news. For a man to say that, I mean, we'd been lied to for the media. We've been lied to by the media for decades, of course. It only got progressively worse. And by the time Trump came around, we had a media, and it's not like it all just blew up when Trump hit. We had a media that was just lying. That was just not, it was just getting together and saying, what are we going to pitch to the people? How are we going to propagandize the people? There was no, wasn't a liberal bias in media, if only. So him calling them fake news woke a lot of people up, I think, even people on the left, even the ones who were screaming and yelling about Trump, it had to be sinking into their brains that there was some truth to this, that you had a bullshit media. And now here he is, but he's still using it. So this is the problem, as this guy veers into madness and his dotage, his intellectual dotage, he's just going to keep invoking it. And he's going to, if he can, just like everything else, just like the immigration issue was the biggest issue that brought him to the fore in the first place, he's going to discredit, whatever good work he managed to do, by accident, incidentally, or otherwise. He's going to ruin it by invoking this, as he's, publicly slips into madness and just wrecks everything. But even despite that, even in his failings, there is, and I keep thinking of, there's a Bible quote that I don't know, that I don't recall exactly how it goes. But, something about God chooses his instruments, and it's almost like God has chosen this instrument, this catastrophic instrument that is Donald Trump's Zionism, to wake us up finally and bring us finally to a reckoning with Jewish power, because it's not about Zionism, and and you see these people who are still trying to hide behind that. Tucker Carlson, certainly liberal Jews who are fiercely anti-Zionist, like Dave Smith and others. I guess Candace Owens, but just barely. I mean, give her credit. She's got the nerve to at least talk about the Jews, because, I mean, nothing is dumber than to say, well, it's the Zionists, right? It's Israel. Because, if you step back and think, okay, what are the chances that Israel, the state of Israel, right, has managed just by its own cunning, and whatever blackmail. This is why I kind of don't even care about the blackmail issue, because we don't need it. and it'll never be proven, true or not. I'm sure there's a great deal of blackmail going on out there, but it's not this. It's not the reason. It's not the reason. The reason we are beholden to Israel is because of the powerful Jewish diaspora, and anything else is frankly dumb. To think that, oh, it's just the Zionists, the state of Israel, Miriam Adelson's money, uh, the Epstein files. Oh, it's a grand blackmail complex. Uh, no, it's because the richest people in our country, the most powerful people, the most ethnocentric, the most devious and cunning people in our country are Jewish, and they're very energetic, and they're very spiteful, um, and they are loyal to Israel. It's not Israel. God, if only, you know. And just like a lot of these liberals, they're afraid to be called anti-Semitic. They're afraid to call out Jewish power, right? So they're only too glad to blame it all on Trump. They're only too glad to say, see, we told you so about Trump, when they never told us so. They didn't tell us. Oh, look, this guy's a Zionist stooge. The left never went there. The left never went there. He was a Nazi. He was against free speech because he was mean to Jake Tapper. He was a Russian stooge, right? Totally childish hoax that they made up, right? And the whole time, people on the right, braver people than me, smarter, more aware people than me, were talking about it from the start, that this guy is going to be what we see now. And even Nick Fuentes, how everybody's saying, yeah, he called Iran. He did, but even he, was taken in by Donald Trump, you know. But then again, I go back to this idea that he is God's instrument and he's here to bring on our final reckoning with our Jewish friends, because nobody can escape it now. You just look stupid. You just look like Michael Tracy and Matt Taibbi over there. Richard Hanania. These are the smart ones, right? Who are going to dance around the issue and try and pretend that it's just, oh, it's all about Trump. It's just, yeah, that's it. What is the nature of Trump's betrayal, people? What is the nature of his madness? Oh, it's, because it's about China. And that's easily falsified too. The idea that we have this hostility that we have developed toward Iran, is, we're making a play against China, or it's about the oil or everything else. That's not so implausible, but you realize why have we not, as we would in every other instance, why haven't we? Why have we only grown more hostile? We had the JCPOA, you know, 2014 or so. Barack Obama negotiated. The Iranians, they're at least willing. They have been willing to talk this whole time. Why have we? Has it been before Trump even came along? Uh, you know, the Obama administration had to pull out every stop to get this JCPOA. And the reason they had to get it, not because we're afraid of Iran, but because they thought it would mollify Israel, because Israel still had some moderate element. It was not yet run by lunatic Netanyahu and Ben Gvir and the settler mentality and the Greater Israel Project. So the whole reason for that was to mollify Israel. And everything, even before this, was all about separating us, they're making the division between us and Iran harder and harder to solve. Right now, if we wanted, if it was making a play against China, and I'm sure that element is in there, right? Um, why would we not have coupled our hostility, for lack of a better word, coupled it with the carrot, right? It was all stick. But any sensible uh, strategy, and before things got really bad, these last 4 or 5 years, Iran's always been open to talk. And there's always been an opening there for us to develop relations with them. And in that way, you know, uh, work to keep them from going into China's orbit, to keep them out of the BRICS project, right? All of these sanctions, right? And we were forcing them into China's arms the whole time. And you're going to say now, when you got this war that is coming on the heels of October 7th and Israel's madness, right? Coming from Donald Trump, who seems to be wholly owned by his Jewish donors, right? Now you're going to say, oh, it's about China. Shut up, you stupid fuckers. Don't insult my intelligence. Don't be dense around me. It angers me. It makes me mad, right? It makes me angry. Is anybody there? Is this thing on? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see what this dick has to say.
I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's
Gee,
supposed
I
to
don't
be
know.
me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people
I'm the best
a lot
doctor.
better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He
He's
has
going through
cancer.
some very serious cancer treatment.
Oh,
so
this dragged
this goes a long way.
the
Yes,
AIDS
sir. It
cancer.
sure does. Mr. President,
Oh,
did
my
you post
God.
that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ? And
And this is some DoorDash driver that he drags onto the stage, right? Oh, I'm going to do a photo op with some DoorDash woman, right? And here's this middle-aged woman. She's doing DoorDash because of your shit economy, Donald, right? And your husband has cancer, right? He's got bad cancer. He's got the worst kind of cancer, right?
It wasn't depiction. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And
All right.
only the fake news could come up with that one.
Yeah,
so
the fake news. That's
I
it.
understand your husband's going through treatment.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's
He
going
has
through
cancer.
some very serious cancer treatment. So
Yes, sir.
this goes a long way.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
What did he do? Give her a tip? Here, I'm giving you a tip. I can't believe it. He's dragged a DoorDash grandma out there. Who the fuck is running things back there? What? Is that really what the image you want to project? Oh, right. This is the guy who's going to tell you how great the economy is. I don't know if he's been saying that much lately. He probably has. You know, he does one of his zigs or zags, and the market bumps up a little bit because they think maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel finally. And he'll come out and talk about how great things are because the markets have recovered a fraction of what they've lost because of his idiocy, right? But here we are, the economy is, it's not that bad right now, I guess, but everybody is scared shitless, in large part because of this war. And he's going to look at this woman. She's like 60 years old and she's doing DoorDash. And he's going to put the t-shirt on her and drag her out there, right? You fucking prick. Who the hell is running things over there? Huh? Now, this is the thing, though. You can't trust X. X is such a fucking sewer now. I'm still kind of my go-to. Uh, just out of habit, really, because there's just really it used to be early in the internet, I would go first to the New York Times, and I was no fan of the attitude of the New York Times. But at least they had broad coverage. It was a great place to start, and it wasn't behind a paywall at first. It was a great place to start your news reading, right? Uh, and X was that for a little while. I mean, I think when Musk first took it over, it was kind of that. But now it's just a fucking sewer because there's bots and humans who might as well be bots who jump into tweets and and whatever the point is made, and it's usually a good point against Trump, against the war, for instance. um, let's look up Truth Social, and the most idiotic responses will come in. You know what I mean? Somebody will talk about Jared Kushner getting $2 billion from the Saudis, and it's weird. It might get ratioed, right? And most of the ratio will be idiotic responses. It'll be people saying, well, you're not talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. What about that? You know, yeah, okay. We've all talked about Hunter Biden's laptop. It remains an outrage, but what is this? And there's just it. I mean, there's a type of response tweet out there now that uh, you get the impression that it's all fake. It's not. It's inorganic, and you get the impression too that whoever's running, moderating X, Twitter, is kind of pro-war, still pro-Trump and pro-war. Uh,
Some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
Oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics. You mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it.
the
I
Catholics
had
left
nothing to
me.
do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, "Isn't that nice?"
My question about
Actually, I would not be able to be married, though. That would be a lot. I'd have to.
Oh God, and the digressions. It's not cute anymore. It's not cute anymore.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. Excuse me. Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one.
No, it's the chosen ones, plural, and you're not it. They just have their fucking collective hand up your ass.
Peace. Iran wants it to happen. President Trump, for his part, sounding thrilled and ready to do business with Iran. Here he is shortly after midnight on Truth Social. Quote, a big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Likewise, so is everyone else. The United States of America will be helping with the traffic buildup in the Strait of Hormuz. There will be lots of positive action. Big money will be made. Iran can start the reconstruction process. We'll be loading up with supplies of all kinds and just hanging around in order to make sure that everything goes well. I feel confident that it will. Just like we are experiencing in the U.S., this could be the golden age of the Middle East,
we're in a
unquote.
golden age,
I'm
guy.
sorry, but I know that this is what President Trump does. He tries to put the most positive spin on very unfortunate situations, and that is what he's clearly doing here. It's as if we didn't bomb them to smithereens. It's as if we didn't start a
Yeah.
war
No,
and bomb
What are you
Iran for
talking
the past
about?
38 days. And that cannot be undone with a sunny tweet or Truth Social, because already things are going south on this ceasefire. President Trump.
And there are these people who act. This is 4D chess. Even if it was, uh, you know, we're supposed to be a democracy. It's supposed to be transparent. He's usually speaking to us. He's making these crazy statements in the United States, addressing us. So people who think who want to act like this is 4D chess are like saying it's okay that he's giving us no clear he's not articulating for us why we're at war, right? He's lying to us. He's jerking us back and forth repeatedly. It's okay, see, because it's brilliant strategy. But here's another problem with X is that you can't trust anything. They're posting these videos that are fake. There are fake videos all over now, and they'll say, oh, this is footage of, demonstrations in Iran tonight, right? We're winning. And then, somebody will ask Grok or something, or community note it, and they'll point out, no, that's from 2019, when we tried to overturn the government, by starting riots in that country with it, but yeah.
Biggest friend of your country?
I feel like in the recent years it's got to be like China.
Where are you from?
I'm from Australia.
Which country is the biggest friend of your country?
Maybe Canada.
What country are you from?
I'm from America.
Which country is the biggest
Don't
friend
say
of your
Israel.
country?
I don't know if it's a good answer. Israel. Yeah, I mean,
Where are you from?
Ireland.
Which country is the biggest friend of your country?
Friend of ours. I would say Americans think that it's them, but it's not. I would say right now Jamaica. We're very good friends with Jamaica because that video that went off.
Where are you from?
Oh,
I'm
God.
from Italy.
I've given up on the Irish, yeah. Everybody loves the Irish, right? But you're just such a bunch of fucking chumheads, man, right? Oh, Jamaica, yeah. They're just, for some reason, that Irish attitude is just leaving them set up to be taken over by Negroes, right? They're just going to be happy about it, right? They're all going to be walking around wearing fucking those stupid flat-billed chappy hats and baggy pants and, yeah, man.
Tell you.
Which country is the biggest friend of Italy?
Maybe the Spanish.
Where are you from?
There you go.
I'm from
Good.
Japan.
Which country is the biggest friend of your country?
Biggest friend?
You're from Japan. Which country is the biggest friend of Japan?
That's a hard one.
Italy.
Where are you from?
Everybody loves Japan, right? But what country, right? Actual country has the best relations with Japan? I don't know. I think the populations in Europe and the United States love Japan for obvious reasons. We just envy them, right? And you got to hand it to the Asians for the most part. I heard China's full of assholes. Koreans can be assholes, but generally the Asians are just, wonderful people.
From the Philippines.
Which country is the biggest friend of your
Love my Filipinos.
country?
I would say the US.
The US. The US and Philippines are got tight.
They have a lot of ties. Like, there's a lot of nurses.
You're damn right. I mean, there's so many Filipinos running around here doing well. You better say the U.S. Even though we kind of fucked them over back in the day. But, that's one reason I like them. They don't really seem to have a bug up their ass.
Population looking at it for signs that it was a fake and unfortunately not finding overwhelming evidence that it was true. This is the story of a human tragedy. You've got a mission mired in a controversy about the most basic facts of what
That was another fake one. So I think this is the recent Artemis mission. I've worked in aerospace. Really, I mean, out of all the different jobs I've had, that's sort of been the one main profession in which I worked. And my mother was actually secretary for one of the NASA guys. And as a young child, I witnessed the moon landing. So it's kind of personal for me, when these assholes start talking smack. aside from their sheer stupidity. This is another one of those fake videos. Somebody posted this. There's an original video out. It's not, this is altered. But the guy,
looking at it for signs that it was a fake. A mission.
so there's supposedly the green screen is showing through, but there's an original video out there, right? Somebody added this, right? And I wonder what their fucking motivation is. People are so fucked up in the head now that the guy probably is a moon doubter. And if it weren't so full of shit, if they had better arguments, I'd be down. I'm open to anything. But the guy's probably a moon doubter, but he still feels it's necessary to cheat. This is what I'm seeing on X over and over again. People are on one side or the other of this war, and they're posting fake videos of, here's a U.S. base getting utterly destroyed, and it turns out it's not quite that. The truth is, if the truth isn't enough for, well, shut the fuck up. Anyway, this is a fake video. This floating object in the Artemis, capsule did not show evidence of a green screen. That was added.
Mired in a controversy about the most basic facts of what's true of our technological history, and this mission does very little to alter the status of that
shut up,
discussion.
stupid.
It basically plays to the New York Times.
No, it doesn't. How the fuck does it even do that? Yeah, see? So supposedly you're seeing through the green screen, but then somebody posted the original video that NASA released and said, here's the original video. This shit is altered. And of course, maybe that's the lie. But I'm not listening to that asshole. He doesn't know how to make good arguments. Hey, this guy, is it Eki? Did I summon you by talking about the moon hoaxery? Because I'm sure you don't believe in we landed on the moon. You don't believe that, do you? This guy 8741. Well, good to see you, my friend. We were worried about you. People have asked about you occasionally. So, yeah. If you want to come on, you can come on. I was just going to post a note. And the note is, I'll say it again, we'll be broadcasting weekday afternoons. That's what we're going to do. All right. Short, topical broadcast. Early afternoons, weekdays. Probably Wednesdays. I don't know. Probably Wednesdays. Yeah, Brett Weinstein. And here's footage of one of our carriers. Wednesdays, is that, you call it, Eki, and I'll do it. Wednesdays? So it'll have to be Wednesdays like at 4-ish. That would be 7 o'clock East Coast, 4 o'clock West Coast. I don't think that's too late. Yeah, that's going to be it. All right. That's it. Wednesdays is what I wanted to do. I don't know why. It's the middle of the week. Wednesdays at 4, Sundays at 10 a.m. Let's try that. We'll try that.
Number one on the college charts this summer was Better Than Ezra. And at number 2...
Ezra, yeah. Everybody made up that joke as soon as they heard the band. Norm. Love you, Norm, but, they're not all gems. All right. So we're just scrolling X at this point because we don't really have anything going on. Yeah, Eki, I don't know a single Better Than Ezra song. I can imagine going to war and, you know, these fucking drones show up and there's like no defense. You got to try and shoot them out of the sky.
Ended very abruptly by Vance, and that it was simultaneous with the opinion piece in the Washington Post, which is a very important media outlet affiliated that is also that is always very close to the CIA. It has a history of being close to the CIA. That, in the opinion of the Iranians, sent a message. So I don't want to go into great detail, but the Iranians on the way back, they changed their plane. They secretly got into a different plane, and that plane on the way to Tehran suddenly diverted and landed very swiftly in Mashhad, and then we all came to Tehran by train, by car, and by...
Yeah, and you can't blame them. So the Iranians leave the negotiations, and they have to, you know, they have to act like fucking, you know, like they're fleeing from a bank robbery or something. Not because they're guilty. I'm not saying that, but you know, because they got to switch planes and and they have to, you know, mix it up to get home, right? And not just that, they've got to be thinking, okay, even if we can somehow trust the Americans, who say Israel isn't going to step in and force, you know, step in and pull off some shit? Israel has demonstrated that there's no low. There's nothing too low for them, you know. I think it's Glenn Greenwald who talks about the Israelization of U.S. policy now and U.S. behavior. That's what's happened to us. We have become, the Israelis have become vicious. Maybe they always were, but more vicious than ever. And we have. And it's part of consequence of us not having our own foreign policy, not having sovereignty. And
very famous. There's a fascinating.
I saw this. Now, this white kid is just trying to break up a fight and he gets knocked down. Yeah, I didn't know if I'm... Hey, look, this is the way it goes, because, you know, I don't buy into this shit that, they always fight in packs, and one-on-one they can take us, generally speaking. You know, it's just, they're just meaner and better with their hands and everything else. But there's this, you know, maybe the worst thing about it is the white people don't have that nastiness. We don't have that warrior nastiness. You know, this white kid takes a bunch of shots, just trying to get the guy to calm down, right? And the black guy is in fury mode, you know, over nothing, probably just because the white guy, the black guy, you know, there's something really feminine about their machismo somehow, right? It's all gossip. People said things and people get mad about. It's it's very feminine in a way. That's always struck me, right? You know, all these networks of black tough guys, and why do they kill each other and beat each other senseless? Because gossip, right? It's just weird, you know. But we don't understand their rage, you know. They don't understand it. They're just possessed by it. But one reason white guys will mostly lose these fights is because, I mean, half of it, being tough, I think, and I'm not a tough guy, so I don't know, but I think half of it is not being afraid or just being too stupid to think about getting hurt, right? We think, oh my God, I might get hurt. But the other half of it that people don't talk about as much is we're afraid to administer punishment. It takes a little bit of nerve. We're afraid to hit a guy as hard as we can, right? I've felt that. Like, they tap the guy. Like, I'm afraid to just belt him. And you see these Negroes, these ferals, they'll fucking throw it. I mean, just, they'll throw the sucker punch and they'll throw it as hard as they fucking can, right? They'll do stupid shit, like knock some guy out, his head hits the fucking pavement, he dies, and they go to prison over some stupid beef, right? But so we're more sensible for that, but there's fear of taking punishment, and there's also an underappreciated fear of administering punishment. So this I'm glad. I actually saw a clip of this, and it ends with the white guy getting knocked down, and I thought, oh, fuck. It's just another case of a white boy getting fucking decked by some feral. But they cut it off. I didn't see the rest of this. He's still not administering the proper ass beating, This looks like LA.
Guys, it's Lisa! Guys, that was my little sister.
Oh, my head.
2 was 702.
I don't feel good.
He was low-key pushing
I
it.
feel like throwing up.
My brother decided to turn back, so it's just me now. I'm around the grass as much as possible. Saw surface. Okay, moth there was a 653. I don't know what happened, but
We're about, 1 year away from when, this girl will never be able to go off on her little run, right?
my floor was a 656. Like, it's so uneven here. Settled on the pace to 715 for mile 5. Okay, just finished one loop of Mile Square. Stretching out my calf. Mile 6 was 714. I actually really like running at
Put
this
down the
time.
phone,
It's so
sweetheart.
peaceful.
That's got to be
I just
LA.
hit Mile 7. It was 711.
I think she's in Ecky's
Oh, that's my
neighborhood.
favorite part of the
I think
run.
Ecky's about to
Oh my God,
abduct
such
this
a
girl.
creep following.
It's a creep following her. Hey, I just want to talk to you about the shoes. Is this you, Ecky? It's definitely SoCal.
There's a creep following me.
You're gonna improve your time now, sweetheart. Okay, we never actually see it happen, but yeah. Yeah, well. Trump is blockading the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Okay.
I will never give you up.
This is
Strait of
awful.
Hormuz must be shut.
God, this is awful. It's the Iran embassy, and they've been doing epic trolling of Trump, of course. But this is horrible.
Please let the ships go through.
Have you seen the Lego videos? Have you seen them? Right. She was going over the freeway, Eki, on one of those, we know those pedestrian um, uh, bridges over the freeway, um, which are a good place to get abducted, right? Stay out of there at night.
Hear this clear. Your people hate orange pig. America first? Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you stole. But Bibi's pulling strings and your vote is getting called.
And it's great. The Iranians are good at this. And, not only normies right here in the U.S. are starting to talk about Israel. The China talking about Israel, right? Nobody over there is afraid to be anti-Semitic, right? When they get the Jews in these little trolling videos up there, they dress them up as obvious Jews, right? They're not afraid to use the tropes. I love it. I'm here for it, as the kids say.
Oh, we're not just fighting for Iran. Hear this clear. Your people.
I mean, don't do the rap. I'm just so sick of people just defaulting to a rap, right? Don't do a rap.
Yeah. They failed at the talks.
All right, we'll endure this rap.
Now they want to blockade the strait. Hormuz hustle. Hormuz hustle. You want to blockade us? We already run the muscle. Blockade our blockade. Go ahead, try your luck. You scared to come close? Keep running. What the fuck? Talks fell apart, now you screaming blockade. But we already control the flow, we set the rate. Every ship pays toll or stays away from the gate. You threaten to stop us? Boy, you're way too late. Gas prices rising, your allies in panic mode while we sit back laughing. Y'all digging your own hole, you talk real big, but your Navy stays far. Scared of our mines and missiles, that's who you are. Hormuz hustle. You wanna blockade us? We already run the muscle. Blockade our blockade. Go ahead, try your luck. You scared to come close? Keep running. What the fuck? What happened to boots on the ground? Where's the invasion? You talk so tough, now you're hiding in hesitation. You begged for ceasefire, then ran back to threats. Couldn't handle the table, so you're making new beds. We're still waiting for those boots. You promised to send. Come on, Donnie, bring 'em, we'll give you the welcome you deserve in the end. Keep bluffing, keep running, keep playing, pretend. Hormuz is ours, you just lost again. Sacred defense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're using all of our tropes against us. And one thing I don't like to see, this looks good.
Keep that same energy.
God, why do they all have to be raps? I'm just so sick of it. I mean, I don't even hate rap. I mean, I still can enjoy some of the old school stuff when I hear it. So sue me, guys. But it's just so fucking cliched, right? Let's do a rap, man. Let's do a gangsta style rap here. Fuck it, shut up. Everything's a rap. You're ruining it. You're ruining it for me, Iran. Yeah, okay. So just when I was touting your trolling abilities, you're starting to fall apart. Yeah, so decline all cookies, thank you. Fucking cookies. I don't even understand the cookie thing, really. Yeah, so Eki brings up the IHRA, International Holocaust Remembrance assholes. Working definition of anti-Semitism. That means work in process, or what? Read the full text of the IHRA's non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism. Yeah. So a working definition is good, I guess, if it's, eventually it'll be legally binding. It'll be no longer a working title, but it'll be law of the land. In the spirit of the Stockholm Declaration that states, quote, with humanity still scarred by ellipses, anti-Semitism and xenophobia, the international community shares a solemn responsibility to fight those evils, unquote. The Committee on Anti-Semitism and Holocaust Denial called it, yeah, I like that, Holocaust denial. Get used to it, guys. Called the IHRA plenary in Budapest 2015 to adopt the following working definition of anti-Semitism. On 26 May 2016, the plenary in Bucharest decided to adopt the following non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism. Quote, anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities, unquote. Yet it doesn't even make sense. Rhetorical and physical manifestations. Speech, you mean, or violence, right? Of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish. Yeah. So the certain perception of Jews, right, which is a funny phrasing, a funny sort of idiom, right? When you say it in this context, a certain perception, a certain blank of blank. It's funny to me. It's always been funny to me that it actually is vague, and it's usually used to be deliberately vague or broad or to leave it open for definition, even though the word certain is in there, which you would think, taken literally, it would mean something more precise. But yeah, you're right, Eki, this is deliberately vague, a certain perception. What do you mean? And perception, a certain perception of Jews. So I know you're trying to limit my speech, and I know you're going to, I even agree that I don't want the right to attack you physically, but I'm not allowed a certain perception. I'm not allowed my own perception. I'm not allowed my own thoughts. I'm not allowed these, a certain perception. You're not allowed your own definition of reality, is what this is sort of getting at. Luckily, so many people are non-literate now that this doesn't even make sense, I'm sure that our president would have, he reads this and he has to have somebody translate it for him. Somebody has to put it into, explain it to him as if he's for, kind of thing, right? To guide IHRA in its work, the following examples may serve as illustrations. May serve, yeah. And as they expand on this, just be certain, they're going to be saying this is not a definition. Yeah, it could go beyond this, right? This is not an exhaustive list of what constitutes anti-Semitism. Let's not make no mistakes here. This is open-ended, And really, what does it mean? It means that actionable anti-Semitism is going to be whatever we say it is. Manifestations might include the targeting of the state of Israel, conceived as a Jewish collectivity. Yeah, well, there you go. So you can't be anti-Zionist, right? Conceived as a Jewish collectivity, and this is sort of, what they want to also get to, and they won't be explicit about it, but they don't want you talking about a two-state solution, even though that's long been as dead as the dick in grandpa's pants. You know, they don't, they just want to bury deep that old, even though it's still, there are some people there still talk about it. It's still kind of policy for the United States and other Western nations, yet that the Palestinians should eventually have their own state. But you can't target the state of Israel as a Jewish collectivity. So you can't say either, which is the ultra-liberal view there. I mean, there's still Jews, some in Israel still probably hiding. They hide in the bunker from the settlers, not just from the Iranian bombs. But there's still some there who would probably, who knows if they mean it. Ultra-liberal Jews, certainly a lot left out here in the States, who would say that, it should not be a Jewish state. It should be a genuine democracy, and not have any special privileges for Jews, And that's what I'm for, the one-state solution, right? Let's let Israel swallow up the West Bank and Gaza, and then let's force it to be what we've become, right? Not only must they be, colorblind democracy, they need to be, especially, they need to be steeped as we are steeped in, in guilt for colonialism, as we're doing, these ridiculous land acknowledgments. I want to see, one state of Israel, including all the Palestinians in the West Bank, and no distinction. There is Israel as you are Israeli. Hell, there's Jewish as you are Jewish. They're Semitic, right? As people like to point out, it's kind of dumb, frankly. They're more Semitic than the Jews, right? The Palestinians are. So, I want to see Israel politicians giving land acknowledgments about we're standing on land stolen from the original Arabs who lived here. That's what I want to see. It would make a heck of a lot more sense than us talking about, the Navajo, who are nowhere to be found, certainly aren't being bombed in their reservations like the Palestinians are. Yeah. However, criticism of Israel similar to that, leveled against any other country, cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. What does that mean? Manifestations might include the targeting of the state of Israel conceived as a Jewish collectivity. However, criticism of Israel similar to that leveled against any other country cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. I don't even understand what you guys are saying there. Oh, are you trying to acknowledge that it's okay to criticize Israel? Is that what you think you're throwing us a bone here? Similar to that level against any other country cannot be. Okay, no, that's good. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow. So, yeah, it sure doesn't seem to work that way, though, right? If I just talk about Israel as being, colonial, right? We talk about America as being a colonial power. All the European countries have to answer for their colonial histories. We even on occasion talk about, Japan's colonial history, even China's, right? But if I talk about Israel as a colonial entity, that's definitely, I'm going to get me charges of anti-Semitism, right? I don't understand. Anti-Semitism frequently charges Jews with conspiring to harm humanity, and it is often used to blame Jews for, quote, why things go wrong, unquote. It is expressed in speech, writing, visual forms, and action, and employs sinister stereotypes and negative character traits. Yeah, I guess that's accurate enough. Contemporary examples of anti-Semitism in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and in the religious sphere could taking into account the overall context, include, but are not limited to, well, these again are examples of anti-Semitism, calling for, aiding, or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of a radical ideology or an extremist view of religion. Okay. Making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as collective, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy, or Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions. See, this is why I take heart, because we got to the point where I'm maybe they have debates in their circles about this, how much they should mention the so-called anti-Semitic tropes, right? Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions. Maybe you want to go back to not talking about it at all. Because, we're at the point where people, they're going into this with skepticism towards Jews and Judaism to start with. So you keep talking about the so-called myths of a Jewish conspiracy and control of the media. You do control the media. You control the economy. I mean, government. Look at the incredible overrepresentation, right? Other societal institutions. I mean, that's even worse. Forget societal institutions. Just think about nonprofits. Think about all these horrible political movements like BLM, and all of these supposed liberation movements that are going bad fast, like feminism, civil rights. It's impossible not to see the Jewish contribution there. And it's like I always say, every anti-Semitic trope doubles as a boast. It just depends on the crowd, and for me and you, okay, we can't talk about the Jewish contribution to the so-called civil rights movement. We can't talk about the Jewish contribution to feminism. We can't talk about the Jewish contribution to freedom of speech movement, like in normalizing pornography, But in another context, when it's just a bunch of liberals who think all those things are just great and can never, ever, ever be questioned, no matter where we go, right? We've strapped in to, civil rights, which is, not even, obviously I have to use the term, but I don't, it's much more than civil rights, feminism. We've strapped in our commitment to a definition of freedom of speech that includes pornography. And we're going to go wherever, we're on a fucking toboggan. And if it dumps us into a fucking, crevasse, a bottomless crevasse, well, God damn it, at least we didn't limit speech. At least we didn't limit women, right? At least we didn't, at least we helped the blacks. Yeah. So everybody's bailing. So I'm going to bail too. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about this shit. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll do this tomorrow. We'll come back. Okay. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock in the after lunchtime. 4 o'clock, Wednesdays. We see when I get back to work. Well, tomorrow's Tuesday, but we're going to do it at 4 o'clock tomorrow, Tuesday. Normal time will be 4 o'clock Wednesdays, and I'll post to that, and I'll commit to it. And 10 a.m. in the Sunday morning for Bible study. We'll get back into doing Bible readings and stuff for that. We'll do preparations. Yeah. Join me here tomorrow, 4 o'clock. All right? Eki, you come out. You can come on and talk if you like. if you feel like doing that. Maybe we'll get into this a little bit. Yeah. And have a good night.